Okay, so thank you again. I'm here to present human-centered operationalization, care ethics, and the socio-technical challenges by which we try to begin to create a digital world that children deserve. My focus here today is on the preface, on the prerequisites, on the contingencies for beginning to be able to do this. And so that is stakeholder preparation. So everything that you'll see today is from that point of view. I asked myself when beginning to prepare for this, sort of a little letter to the future about whether or not we can build a digital world with the following specifications. And when I say specifications, I mean the outcomes of what we really are trying to lead to is in this future world. And we can read here for ourselves, but really it's a place where, regardless of the product, service, or system that you are creating, it's really important that at the same time you think about, is this product, service, or system considering the needs of children, preserving their stages of development that are natural, and are their rights being defended, and in general, are they being protected? So creating this digital world is a wicked problem, as Nishan, I think, alluded to. And wicked problems are notoriously and inherently interdependent on other problems, societal problems, cultural problems, and so on and so forth. So there will never be one solution. There will always be the need for a transdisciplinary approach to addressing it with the multiple challenges. And one of the most important things, I believe, is that humans are at the center, often, almost always, of the problems. They are part of the problem, but they are also going to be the forcing functions for parts of the solution. And I'll talk about this later, but we can choose to do nothing in general, which many social media companies do. We can volunteer to change. There's going to be two others. And we can lead digital innovations in this space and volunteer, for example, to implement a standard. Or you can be forced to change to do it. I call them the carrots and sticks. So with that said, I'd like to begin to just talk about care ethics. And care ethics was one of the most comprehensive views on this anyway, was Nell Noddings. And she provided the ideas that the foundation of caring, the foundations of care ethics are the basis for morality. But I'm not going to talk about her theoretical approaches to why care ethics is important. To me, what my interests are is that it helps us better understand the differences between a caring about duty, in other words, you feel a duty to care, or caring as an active choice, an inclination to care purposefully about something, meaning when you are creating a product, it is in your DNA's individual, group, and cross-functional approach to thinking about it because it's embedded inside your organization. And that any decision that is made in the company, regardless of the product that you're making, that it is not just a duty, but that it's an inclination and you are acting upon it. So to me, care ethics is about right conduct. Care ethics is a part of an active choice for consistent, daily, caring actions, and it requires proactive, advanced consideration. So just very quickly, I define it as caring purposefully. So what does this look like? I sort of thought about this and threw this up last night because it's sort of a spectrum. Everything becomes a spectrum, a universe of possibilities of what is. And from the top left to the bottom right, there is a sense of just, I wonder if we could not classify or categorize, but think about that as your indifference as a company to the needs and rights and developmental stages of children, one can think about this top left illustration as sort of a company as well. It's a vast oversimplification, but imagine living next to this person and finding that, it would take 2 extra seconds to sweep the snow off the right side of the stairs. And companies often, in some ways, I wanted to just illustrate this, companies often are just profit focused or efficiency focused. And it is not difficult to surmise that if you are only business and profit focused, that you're not going to care very much about the needs and rights of children as you're developing products, services, and systems. So as indifference and self-interest increases on the left, there's not really a possibility for you to even move into an operationalization of care ethics on the right-hand side. Companies that would pick up the 2089 standard voluntarily, as these standards are, to begin to design and redesign age-appropriate digital services for children, have not only perhaps a duty, but an inclination to. And so from the boardroom all the way down to the lowest salary band, you would have this strength across people in a transdisciplinary way and in a cross-functional way to achieve their goal of listening to and caring for the needs of children. So I assert that organizational identity can be defined by a set of relationships and decisions that describe these 3 possible states. So what does human-centered operations look like? Well, design is just the beginning. I work in an organization that endeavors and is mission-oriented, and it's a public benefit organization. We're aiming for certification of this charter. And so we try to embed and integrate in a very transdisciplinary, cross-functional, and inter-hierarchical way anything and everything we do, but that it starts with design of the ideal, something that inspires people, meaning we are developing a service, and in that service, we are developing it with either users, customers, end users in mind, thinking about them in advance. But then that is just that. It's a design. It is meant to inspire people to optimize understanding. But then you have this wonderful ideal, and you have to take it to people to implement. And that's when the real challenges begin. Because as design meets reality, and you begin ideating about the business problems, the business viability, the business profit lines, the bottom line, it is almost at its core this struggle between the status quo and what could be. And so when I say ideate after the inspiration and the design occurs, it is a struggle for power. It is a struggle to just change a function on a particular aspect of service, or change a purpose for a particular way that a service is developed. And after that, this clash, if you will, which sometimes is serious and sometimes it's not so serious, we move into implementation. And it is typically that design, the ideal, has been compromised in some really significant ways. And why does this happen? Because human behavior and organizations reflect irrational, multivariable, non-linear dynamical systems. And inside these systems, where everyone is struggling to just do their job and have their own bandwidth for time and understand whether their boss knows about the strategy that that aims to create a better digital world for children, but that you're trying to implement 15 other programs while you're working, a 10-hour job on that day. These are just the realities. So human-centered operations are an absolute wonderful opportunity to be able to say everything that we do in this company, everything that we do in this operation is a charter and a mission to help whatever vulnerable population choose X. And in this talk, of course, it's for children. But this is sort of the three processes that are continuous, I mean, from a daily, almost hourly basis. And even in the most mission-oriented organizations, it is a deep struggle. The 2089 standard, I will let others talk about the process here, but again, it begins with this pre-preparation and these stakeholders, the roles and responsibilities. If the company and organization now have what 2089 suggests, which are an age-appropriate lead, a champion, and that's almost always a relentless C-level top exec or a board member, a system expert that's working on the systems, creating the products, and then potentially a senior product manager. These are just four of the potential roles that are really necessary in designing digital services for children that are age appropriate. But what I alluded to prior was this discussion and constant conversation that is a part of the struggle between design and operations. And it really is about people. It just comes down to, do you have the people that believe? Do you have the people that are going to actively participate in care ethics on a daily basis? And it rolls down to the relationships. It really does. It's human-centered. And the relationships that you create with each and every person in every department, it is exceptionally inevitable that if you have someone that doesn't personify care ethics, it's going to be even harder. So here are the choices that companies have. They can do nothing. They can volunteer to change, meaning carrots attract them, things like standards, guidelines, third-party audits, partnerships with nonprofits, partnerships with NGOs, creating a different charter in your company, for example, or you can lead innovations by doing all of the above as well, or you can be required by law to change, and these are the sticks, of course. Fewer companies are in number 3, some may be in number 2, and of course we know who is in number 1. So this is an interesting idea that really is personified in our company, and that is that there is now certifications in the world for you to be a public benefit corporation. And this nonprofit, the B Corporation, is actually a separate company that helps certify public benefit corporations. And so here is this now spectrum of private sector, profit-focused, self-interest at its highest level, still efficiency-oriented, to the complete opposite potential side of the spectrum with the NGOs and the nonprofits, but companies that actually build a charter to do good. They actually build a charter and have to be certified and get audited in order to do good. And guess what? That space is expanding, and that is exciting. So we have a lot of things at our disposal, a lot of tools, because this wicked problem needs them all, and they need them all the time. And it will take generations. This is not a one solution, one-stop shop here, but you have wonderful things going on that can help folks design and create and change and redesign and go back to old legacy systems and also redesign those. And these are some of the carrots. But we also have what happens with indifference. And at the top of the indifference, when you are only profit focused, what happens is the law comes in, some sticks are needed. And whilst the US has been a little bit slow to address what the needs of children are, California has this wonderful new law, which most likely will end up at the governor's desk by September. But really, this is a chance to secure best in nation online protections for children in California, as well as a new regulatory standard for the US. And it's based on the Children's Code, of course, inspired by Baroness Beban and all of her work in legislation in the UK. But what this signals to the US, California does, usually the US considers after. What's the signals is we are going to use the law as a tool to help you understand the needs and rights of children. And so that's where we're at. Big hello. History teaches us that law is helpful to protect the rights of others, consumers, children in this case. And these latest settlements are very indicatory of things are changing, and regulation will help. It is not the end all and be all, but it will help. And so these are some of the highest penalties now seen. And I suspect that they will get more lawsuits. And even just recently, in 2020 in New Mexico, in the United States, they're suing Google for collecting children's data in schools. And this lawsuit is ongoing. This is that force. It's a force of nature, hopefully, that says, hey, you don't want to do it, that's fine, but let's find out how we can change your behavior. And so that's it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I extended my time way too much, but I appreciate your attention and the opportunity to speak.